So, since this is Ask Top Hat, what would you like to ask me?
What, you're so big you don't need an introduction?
I don't need no bloody introduction. No. Everyone knows who I am by now. Notorious.
Yeah, well, lovely. Okay, yeah. Patreon questions.
Yes.
That is what we're doing today.
I will be getting on the Patreon questions, but first, since you're going to be reading them out for me, ask me a question.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Yes,
How gracious of you.
Indeed, yes, I'm a very nice man.
My payment for this segment.
This is your payment.
Okay, I do have a question, and that question is, if there was a portable Philips CDI, would you want one?
Well, I can confirm that there is a portable Philips CDI, and indeed, I do want one. So it's not some fictional made-up thing. There is an actual portable CDI, as ridiculous as that may sound. And if you look back at this thing, it's actually pretty cool, and it's bizarre to me that it's not talked about on the internet more often, because you'd think by now people like the Angry Video Game Nerd, etc., would be obsessed with such a ridiculous entity existing. So the portable Philips CDI, it's quite a nice looking device. They look a lot like, do you remember those portable DVD players you got back in the noughties?
Yeah, I think my mum bought one to shut me up in the car.
Okay, I had one in the noughties too, and I accidentally left it somewhere in Greece, and I think got stolen by Russians, but that's a whole story for another time. But so yes, they look, portable Philips CDIs look a lot like portable DVD players, only they came about a decade earlier, so they play video CDs instead.
Okay.
So they can play VCD. So you could bring one of these portable CDI players in the car with you, to the beach, wherever, and you could watch films on it way before there was any DVDs around, and more importantly, play bloody games. Like, imagine how cool it would be to play Hotel Mario in the hotel, for example. Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah.
So also, these portable Philips CDI players, they could link up to a television, so you could play the games on a television or as a handheld. Like, how revolutionary would that have?
It feels very switchy.
Exactly. Like, that's amusing as well, isn't it? The amount of time Nintendo keep insisting that they've just released the first ever console handheld hybrid, when there's been bloody loads of them before. Like, we had the Sega Nomad, we've talked about loads on this channel. The portable Philips CDI, which we're talking about today, and even, actually, which I've got right here, this was the first one, as far as I'm aware, the Wultara Supervision. This even had a docking station like the bloody Switch, so it was exactly the same.
That's amazing. I mean, it looks a little bit dusty from here. Is that because it's terrible?
Yeah, it's pretty terrible. And to be fair, I made an entire, really in-depth video about this system on my channel.
You are good at those.
Yeah, it's 20 minutes long, and I'm probably the only person sad enough on this planet to have gone to the effort of playing the entire library on this system, because I felt no one's done research in this much detail on this system, so someone's got to do it so the world can know about whether or not to play this system. People needed to know whether or not this system's worth playing today. Something else, whilst we're on this, because I do like talking about these obscure consoles, is whilst most of the handhelds lost to the Game Boy because they were more expensive and they had crap battery and they had the colours, they were big, clunky and powerful. This bloody thing took the opposite approach, because it saw like the what's it called, the Game Gear and the Link's die, so it decided, let's be as cheap as possible. So this system was actually cheaper than the Game Boy.
It doesn't look it.
Not
because this looked expensive, just because the original Game Boy looked cheap.
Yeah, this was cheaper. This was even cheaper.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it doesn't look that much cheaper. So,
but yes, if you want to learn about the Wultara Supervision, look up the video on my channel. I enjoyed making that one because I like teaching people something new. So anyway, let's get on with this Patreon.
Can I ask 1 second question?
Yes, one more.
Can I have a go later?
Potentially. I'll think about it. It depends how well you read these questions.
Kind of you. Okay, so on here we have your Patreon questions.
Yes.
Question 1 is from Andrew Byzanski, and he asks, do you ultimately feel any concern regarding the availability of reproduction games in the marketplace?
I can't say I feel any concern regarding reproduction games in the marketplace necessarily. I think they're a lot like guns, reproduction games. It's nothing to do with the games themselves. It's the person using them. So
okay.
Maybe it's a good thing that they're illegal for the same reason guns are illegal, thinking about it.
Well, here they are.
Well, yeah, any sensible country, they'd be illegal. It's as simple as that. Any country that's got a sane government will make guns illegal. It's as simple as that. Like,
Okay.
oh, we're going political here. Let's not. We're going down a rabbit hole. So let's
Divert.
let's try and go back.
Quick, hit the abort button.
Yes,
Run
yes,
away.
yes. Make America great again.
Do you want me just to ask another question? Get over this one.
What was? Do you ultimately feel any reproduction games? Yes. Reproduction games, I think it's wrong to sell them if the consumer doesn't know that they're reproductions.
Yeah.
But I think it's fine to buy them if you know they're a reproduction. It's as simple as that. So it's about transparency. Everyone should be selling things transparently. Simple as that.
I think that's fair.
Okay, next question.
Next question is from the same gentleman. He has a part 2 to his question, although it's not particularly linked. Cheating. What is the most interesting gaming peripheral that you own?
Oof. I reckon I'm going to say the U-Force. A lot of people know about the U-Force by now. It's basically it's motion controls for the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Yes.
So so basically it's like the Kinect, only it's for the Nintendo Entertainment System. So, but it works really badly. But so does the Kinect, doesn't it? Arguably.
Yeah. There is no innovation anymore.
There's no such thing as innovation. No.
We've 3 questions in, and we've discovered no innovation in anything.
No. Everything's just copied from this. So what's the next question?
Okay. Next question is from Adam Westwood, and he asks, "What's your take on the indie game scene, and what's your favourite indie game?"
Okay, the modern indie game scene is the same answer to all the other questions. No innovation. Like for some reason, most indie games these days, well, the bigger ones, are inspired by games from the 8-bit and 16-bit generation.
Okay.
Whereas the whole point of indie games in the past, people would used to try and make something new, something creative.
Yeah.
And on the whole, I don't feel there's enough creativity in indie gaming because they're too reliant on nostalgia and trying to just get a cheap pop from 8-bit music and all stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I've got no problem with indie games. I just wish they would kind of try and take their own identity rather than just steal the identity of the past. And so what's the second half of the question?
What's your favourite indie game?
Jet Set Willy.
Okay. Your next question is from Edward O'Reilly. He says, "Hello, Mr. Top Hat Gaming Man." Nice and formal.
That is, thank you. That is.
Yeah. He says that he gets great enjoyment out of indie games, but finds it rather annoying with having no form of refund from like the Nintendo eShop for the 3DS and the Switch. Especially if it turns out the indie game that he bought is crap and he doesn't enjoy it. Unfortunately, a lot of indie games have no demos, so I can't try before I buy. Does this annoy you as well?
To be honest, if I was to buy an indie game on a console, I would only buy a physical copy in the first place. If I was to buy a downloadable indie game, then I wouldn't buy it on a Nintendo product because Nintendo do not offer the best service when it comes to indie games. You're best off going straight to Steam and purchasing it on there instead, because if you're purchasing it on Steam, firstly, it's permanently linked to your Steam account, so you can log into this Steam account and essentially play the game on any computer rather than just being locked down to one specific Nintendo device. And on top of that as well, one of the things on Steam is if you don't like a game, you can just get a refund on it as well. So that problem can't happen if you buy the same games on a non-Nintendo platform, basically. So just don't buy indie games on Nintendo platforms. It's stupid. Next question.
There we go. Edward O'Reilly asks another question. Again, cheating. But maybe in a future video you could create a list of the most enjoyable indie games you have played over all platforms. At least it's connected.
Yes. I can do that at some point down the line, but I can tell you the best indie games you'll find on platforms like the ZX Spectrum, the Commodore 64, the Amstrad CPC 464, just to name a few really. BBC Micro, another one. So that's where you'll find all the good indie games, platforms like that. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah. There are a few good ones. Not Shovel Knight though.
Not shovelware. No shovelware night.
Okay, no problem. Your next question is from Sean Johnson, asking you, what's the PC gaming scene in Europe like? Is it still stronger than consoles?
It's hard to say, but I'm going to say it's unlikely that it is, based on the fact that every idiot I know owns a copy of FIFA and Call of Duty on their PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. So it looks like console gaming is probably more popular than PC gaming. However, I'd say that's probably across most of the globe. However, there's still differences here and there between gaming markets in different countries. Like if you go to a supermarket in this country, for example, say like Tesco or Asda, the majority of them don't sell Nintendo games at all. They don't have a Nintendo section. They only have a Sony section and a Microsoft section. You go to the United States, on the other hand, go to Walmart, and they all have huge Nintendo sections. Okay. So there's still differences around the world when it comes to gaming, but console gaming and PC gaming. In this country, at least, it's definitely console gaming is the thing.
Yeah, there we go. Your next question is from Michael Baker, and he asks, are there any retro games that never received a sequel on modern hardware that you think are especially deserving of a sequel? One example of this game might be Startropics, which was abandoned by Nintendo after the NES era.
There are so many examples of games like this, and it's a question what's come up in these sort of Q&As time and time again. And the examples we always consistently give is Earthworm Jim. That's a series I'd love to see have a modern sequel. And Plock, the British game on the Super Nintendo, which is an absolutely outrageously good platformer, and there's only one game in the Plock series. So I'm desperate for a Plock 2, so that's my consistent answer.
You actually completed Plock.
I did on one of our streams at twitch.tv/TopHatChat, where people can join us at 9 PM GMT every Saturday night, where they can continue to ask us questions like this whenever they like. Especially if they give us a follow, because they get email notifications too. Yeah.
Good plug.
Thank you.
So the next question is from Jürgen van Lerberg. I think I said that right.
Lobster Newberg, yes.
There we go.
Yes, give me his question.
What exclusive game titles are worth buying a system for?
Okay, the Sega Saturn, which he's got kind of put in the second part of his question, hasn't he? Was that? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the second part.
Yeah, so Panzer Dragoon, the Panzer Dragoon series, for example, is a reason to own the Saturn. I've heard people say, for example, Tempest 2000 on the Atari Jaguar as a reason to get a Jaguar. However, I'm yet to play a Jaguar, so I can neither confirm or deny whether that's true or not. However, I played the arcade version of Tempest quite a lot.
Okay.
So,
apparently, Breath of the Wild on the Switch.
Apparently. It's on the Wii U as well, so that's definitely not. That's really
okay. All right, fair enough. But people did think it was exclusive.
People was dumb enough to believe that. Yes.
Yeah.
Another one actually. Apparently, there's a system called the Nuon, which came out at the same time as the PS2 and the GameCube.
Okay.
And that's got Tempest 3000 as an exclusive on it, which is apparently really good. But there's only like 3 games or something on the Nuon, something really ridiculous. So. But yes, if you want to play Tempest 3000, the Nuon is the only way to go. So
it better be really good.
It better. We'll find that one day. We'll have a Nuon stream one day on Twitch.
It'll be a 20-minute stream. Yeah. Okay. Great plug again.
Yes, thank you.
Your next question, actually, Jürgen's second part is thoughts and opinions on Panzer Dragoon series.
Well, I've said it on this channel plenty of times. I love it, especially Panzer Dragoon Saga. Very, very, very strong JRPG. Very different to any other game what was on the market at the time. Fantastic.
There we go. Nice.
Can't really big it up any more than that.
Your next question is from Victor Rain, and he asks, video game magazines used to be such a huge part of my childhood. It's sad that they have mostly died out now. Which gaming magazines did you read back then, and which ones do you still read today? And how do you feel towards the fact that magazines are and printed media are no longer what they used to be?
Okay, when I was a child, I was regularly indoctrinated by a Nintendo magazine system, which was Nintendo's official magazine here in the UK, where they would constantly write up articles about how bad Sega is and stuff like that. So that was quite amusing.
Well, even though Sega do what Nintendo don't.
No, that's an Americanism. We never had that. That was too lowbrow. That would not have passed here. Like the people.
It does make me smile.
People would have turned their television off. Let's be honest, if they saw something that ridiculous.
It makes me smile now.
It is ridiculous, yeah. But in terms of now, I sometimes read Retro Gamer magazine, which it's amusing because you go into newsagents these days, and there's more magazines on our shelves in the UK about retro games than there are about modern games, which is really funny. But I suppose that kind of tells you all you need to know about the magazine market. That is kind of the people who are buying magazines are generally older people who are into those sort of forms of media. In fact, actually, the majority of magazines I notice on shelves in a local area are like fox hunting magazines and stuff like that. So that will tell you about how archaic the readership is of magazines on the whole, the core demographic of magazine readers.
Do you have a subscription to Fox Hunting Monthly?
Oh yes, of course. Next question.
Your next question is from Helen Fairgrave.
So I just need to check something.
Okay.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that was a jump cut because my camera can only film in 20-minute blocks, which is what I just got up for there. So sorry I scared you. So
It's okay. I tried to do it with you because you told me to, and it made me feel a little bit upset.
Okay, what was it too loud for you?
Yeah, I don't like it.
Okay, so what's the next question?
But the next question was from Helen Fairgrave, and she wanted to ask you, do you have any thoughts about GOG.com? I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it, and the prevalence of old PC games on the platform. I always feel quite bitter when playing old console games. If that game had been released on PC, then the remastered edition would just be the same original game that was released in '99, but now running on much more powerful hardware, with free player mods to improve the experience if necessary. That was a really hard question to get out of my mouth.
Yes, that question is quite hard for me to answer because the PCs I was playing at the dawn of my life was the Amstrad CPC 464, which you could even argue these days, was that even a PC in the first place? Yeah. Were microcomputers PCs? We won't get onto that. That's a big question. Yeah. But then I was playing by 1995. I had a Windows 1995 IBM PC. Okay. And I would like to get into old PC games again, actually, from that era, but I've not been able to procure a PC from that time period, which I'd like to get, because I think everyone's just recycled them by this point.
I'm pretty sure that my mum and dad have one in the loft.
Oh, nice.
Like, legitimately, that you should be able to have.
That would be amazing. Could you imagine that on the channel?
Yeah.
Windows 95 stream.
Oof.
Just imagine that at a night of Netscape and chill. Be amazing.
Sorry, that tickled me. I didn't think you used up-to-date references.
Okay.
Semi-up-to-date references.
It's quite up to date.
Yeah, ish. Okay, is that it? Are we done?
Yes.
Okay, you've answered that one. You confused me. Next question is from Audrey Sampson, asking, in your opinion, could a company be successful by releasing a brand new cartridge-based 16-bit console and making their own 2D games, or licensing former classic cartridge releases?
Absolutely not. That's all I can say to that one. Unless Nintendo release a 16-bit console, because Nintendo can seem to be able to print money with anything these days. The fan base are so indoctrinated that they buy anything. So I think Nintendo could do it, but other than Nintendo, no one else.
Yeah.
Although, yeah, it is proof that, for example, like, look at all the retro gaming channels on YouTube. They have audiences, but none of them have ridiculously big audiences. Like, if I was to make a channel just about the Nintendo Switch, for example, the growth would be astronomically higher than talking about retro games. You can see it all over YouTube, can't you?
Yeah.
So, no, there's less money in it. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. So you're not a complete sellout?
No, not yet.
Michael Rogers asks a considerably shorter question this time. Ridge Racer or Daytona?
Ridge Racer.
Yeah.
We was actually playing Daytona on stream the other night at twitch.tv/TopHatChat at 9 PM GMT every Saturday night. We was playing that on a Saturday night, and we wasn't very impressed with Daytona. It seemed to age really badly.
Yeah.
In fact, actually, let's play Ridge Racer on our PS1 stream this Saturday night, and we'll be able to see whether it actually is better than Daytona, or whether we're just reflecting back on our own Ridge Racer nostalgia.
Yeah, I really hope it's good.
Yeah, we'll have to find out.
Okay. Next question from Greg Hooper. If you could only save 10 items in your collection, what would they be and why?
See, this is a really difficult question because it depends in what sort of context. Like, the really obvious answer would just keep the 10 items that are worth the most money, then sell those 10 items to buy everything else back in the collection. Yeah. So that would be games like my boxed PAL Mega Man X3, Hyper Fighting for Virtual Boy, Earthbound, Panzer Dragoon Saga, all the really obvious ones that are worth a fortune.
That's the genie answer, though, isn't it?
That is.
If you get 3 wishes, what would you wish for? More wishes.
Exactly. So, if I could only keep 10 games and I'm only allowed to own 10 games, then my answer would be probably my favourite 10 Super Nintendo games from my childhood. Maybe, because those are the games I've got the fondest memories with, where I got most addicted to gaming.
It'd have to be your favourite 9 in the console to play.
But then you could argue, would that be stupid too? If I was only allowed to keep 10, would it be dumb buying 10 that I've already played to death? Or if I was only allowed 10, would it be worth buying 10 games where you could just get a ridiculous amount of playtime out of them, like 100-hour long games. Like, would the obvious ones be games like, I don't know, the newest iteration of Pokemon, for example, and one of the deepest Final Fantasies. You get what I'm saying, don't you?
Yeah.
So it depends in what angle you're going to take it with. So I think I answered that in some detail.
I think you answered it a few ways, which is the right way of doing it, I think.
Which is, yes.
We have a question here from Synth Spaces.
Ah, the Australian twat.
Something like that. He asks, would you actually defeat DJ Slopes in a fight to the death? Lol.
So, yes, I love Daniel Emerson. I think he's a really, really nice man. The only issue is I'm not a nice man, so I would smash his skull into the ground and beat him to a pulp, to death, if it meant my life or his. So I hope that answers that question.
I think it's answered enough.
Good.
Maybe we can make that happen. KSI seems to be boxing YouTubers
I would.
recently.
So yes, Daniel Emerson, if you want a boxing match at, I don't know, Play Expo or something, fisticuffs, me and you.
Okay, yeah.
Open challenge.
Okay. Last question now. We've got through these okay, I think. Yes. Last one. From Michael Rogers. Asks, were you reprimanded by the PC police? I've been enjoying some of your older videos and noticed that they had a lot more controversial, hilarious comments in them.
I have not been reprimanded by the PC police. Well, they try to, but I always escape because no one can put me away. But in regards to that question, I suppose it's as your audience gets bigger and bigger, you have to be more mature in a way. Is that? No, I don't think that's the right answer, is it? I'm not more mature.
You're selling out.
No.
Honestly, the state of the channel in a year's time will just be you reviewing Switch games.
Probably, yeah. You're going away with all those other losers.
Yeah. But you will have your gold play button.
Well, yes,
if you do that.
So I'll just review Switch games to get the gold play button.
Yeah.
Is that the way forward, ladies and gentlemen? Let us know in the comments section. So, if you would like to become part of these ridiculous Patreon Q&As, then you can, simply for $1 a month. And if you support us with support me, not him. He's just helping. If you support me with $1 a month on Patreon, then you are helping me to continue to release ridiculously in-depth documentary style videos week in and week out. It really does help me on a day-to-day basis. So to all of you who do contribute to this fine channel, thank you so very, very much. I love you all. Do you have anything to say to them?
Yeah. If you like this kind of content, then have a little pop over to the secondary channel that we run together.
Yes.
That is Top Hat Chat on YouTube, and come and give us a subscribe on there, and you can see more of us bantering backwards and forwards and me trying to prove him wrong while he shouts at me.
Yes, and that channel's not monetised yet, so we don't get anything from that. We're just having a laugh at this stage.
Yeah. Experimenting.
Yes, and that's where, if you're looking for controversy as well, like someone was, that's where probably you're going to find it. Would you agree?
Probably more so than...
More so on there, yeah. Yes. So, cheerio!